All right, guys, welcome back to another review of Spy X Family. Spy Family. Spy and Family? Man, I don't know. It's whatever. Spy Family. We're going to go with the Spy Family. All right, so this chapter, like I said last week, like I assumed, we're going to be finding the mother and getting a fake wife in the situation, right? So that's what happened. In the first fucking page, they did my boy Frankie wrong. What is that? What is this? How they did? Why they doing my boy like that? Man, let's move on, man. So basically, they got they got Frankie looking like I'm like, bro, and he got a thick ass sideburns on the side of his face. I'm like, God damn, why y'all gotta do Frankie? He's the only brother in the whole damn manga so far, and y'all gonna do. Well, all right, moving on. So they're just like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. I don't even know why they thought that was gonna work, which is fucking crazy. Cause last last chapter we saw that Twilight freaking could have basically perfect camouflage with the type of mask he'd be wearing. So I'm like, this is the best yet you could do, Frankie. You could freaking make mask of anybody in the world, but Frankie got to look like this. God damn. All right. Okay. It's whatever. Just because he's the only brother in the damn manga. All right. Do him dirty. I don't care. All right. So they're just like, nah, this ain't going to work. Cool. Whatever. Moving on. And we got, and basically what they decide to do, and I know the point that they brought up is, why don't you just get one of the female spies in your agency to do it? And apparently there was a whole freaking genocide of spies in the story where all the women just got murdered. I don't know if it was just spies in general or just the female spies that just got caught up. I don't know, because if it's all the female spies, what the fuck were they doing to get caught up so easily? But moving forward, so we get to see, well, I already know what the wife was going to look like just because it's in the cover of the magazine. It's not like a really surprise. And we find out her name is what is her name? Yor. Her name is Yor. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Her name is Yor, which is weird. Yor? Y-O-R. Yor. Okay, that's a name. Like, even when I was reading it, a lot of times when they're saying like Yor as in possessive, I'm like, Yor, I don't know, whatever. And so we find out that she is a 27-year-old woman. She's a 27-year-old woman, and she's living during this Cold War era in this fictional world. And a lot of women are like looking at her like, wow, 27 and still not married. You're gonna look a little suspicious to where, why the fuck don't you have a man? Like, why you not married? 27, you need to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen at this age. And that's a joke, but it's just weird to see at that, because this is also a period piece. So it's just funny to look back and see how 27 is like, why are you not married with kids already? Where in this day and age, and like our society, it's like 27 is like, a lot of women are focused on their careers and what they got going on instead of like becoming a wife or whatever. But they just her little girlfriend's at the her job, just giving her hell over it, which is, yeah, I don't know, I'm not a female, so I wouldn't know, but it just seems pretty catty. I don't know if that's just how women are in the workplace, who knows, maybe, but they're giving her hell. But she's a pretty girl, because I ain't gonna lie to you, I mean, she look alright, she looks sweet.
Nice.
For her to look like that and not have a partner or boyfriend or husband or whatever. But of course we find out later that it's because she's a fucking assassin. She don't got time for niggas. She's trying to live her life. Let her be. All right, so one of the girls is having a dinner party coming up Saturday, and they want Yor to stop by. And they tell her to come with her boyfriend or with a date. It's like, bitch, what you mean come with a date? You were just making fun of her that she can't get a date. She can't be with anybody. It's like, so you just want me to find somebody just to come to your party? Such a bitch, you know what I mean? So there was this, like I said, this manga so far has really been cracking me up. So there's this whole joke going, just a joke going on with the spy. It's like a lot of tension. So any little things, like the Salem witch trials in a way. any little thing somebody does is deemed suspicious. So this woman was 30 years old, and she was basically a bachelorette. She was not married. She was not no children, no husband, or whatever. And she got arrested for suspicious activity because it's like, why the fuck you're 30 and single? That, I don't know. Things don't add up. So they get my girl out of here. But the image of the girl, she don't look no damn 30 to me, bro. So she might have been a spy. She looked at least 55. At least. So I don't know. The image is kind of small, so maybe I don't know. But they're like, yo, bring her, bring your little date to our party. And one thing I noticed too, a lot of the names are more European names. I don't know if it's translation but that's not how usually manga is. Manga, they usually keep the name itself. The pronunciation might be different from language to language, but they usually keep the name as it was intended, as it was written. So a lot of the names are Romanicized names, like Mary, John, and Peter, and that kind of stuff. And the girls are being catty as they're leaving, telling her to bring a date. And I think some of their names are Marianne. I don't think they're important. But again, this is a spy manga. They might be some fucking undercover. You never know. I'm on edge with these characters. Anybody that comes up, I'm like, I don't know, nigga. You might be up to no good. But they leave, and Yura goes back home, and she's basically like, oh no. In the beginning, you don't know that she's an assassin. Of course, if you already know, you just kind of like know she's going to be an assassin, but it's not portrayed like that. And you find out that she's just a normal girl or whatever, and her younger brother's calling in on her and saying, hey, basically, are you married yet? Like, god damn, can't the girl be a fucking career woman? Her first thought is like, yo, you got a man yet? I'm just checking in on you because I worry about you. Like, damn, it's a problem if she don't got a man. Like, come on. So she's shy, and she's just kind of like, I'm sorry to be a burden and whatever. And it's just a younger brother. And the reason I brought up like the whole Roman names earlier is because the brother's name is Yuri, and Yuri is not a very Western name. From the animes I watch, I've seen a lot of Yuris in like Japanese culture. So, and later on in the story, we also find out that Yor and Yuri are siblings, but they're orphans as well. Their parents died at a young age. So I don't know if they're actually like people from Westeros, where the story is taking place, the fictional place of Westeros, which I think is based on the West. I guess that's pretty obvious. It's based on the name. Okay, whatever. So she might be a foreigner. We don't know yet. That's my prediction. See, at the end, I'm gonna tell you my predictions to the story. We'll get there. So she is an orphan. We find out the brother named Yuri, which is not a Western name, a common Western name. So moving on in. So basically, she lies to her brother just so she could get him off her back because she was asking about. He basically gets a promotion, and that he's going to have to move away for work, and he won't be able to see her. And then that's his big sister. He wants to make sure she's okay. And he's just like, hey, I want to make sure you got somebody at the very least if I'm going to be away. And to put her brother at ease, she lies and says she does have a man. And he's like, okay, I'll get a full rundown on him and make sure he ain't up to no good or whatever. So I'm guessing because the brother, I think, works for the city. So I don't know if he's also a spy or in that kind of field of work, because the way he's just like, oh, I'm gonna get a background check on him, especially in those day and age. It's not like you could just go on Facebook and type the boyfriend's name. So I'm pretty sure he has some connection. So another anticipation that I have in my head is that Yuri is gonna have a run-in with Twilight later on in the story. Maybe, we don't know, but it just seemed like, how do you could just get connection, get a rundown on just anybody you want? And the reason I think he works for the city or he has connections like that is because later on we find out that the boyfriend of one of the girls that Yor works with is like his superior or his underling. They have a work connection, those two guys. And Yor, like I said, works for the city, and just like Town Hall, she works for Town Hall. So I think there's like something there. So basically, she gets nervous after he says he's gonna do a whole rundown because like fuck, he's gonna find out I'm lying and he's gonna lose my trust, and he's just gonna be like, this is the fucking worst. I don't want to do that. And the phone rings back up, and she's all kawaii and nervous and shy girl. You know, the typical type that you see in like a lot of animes. That's the type of vibe that she gives off. And the phone rings again as she was panicking. Basically, she just lied to her brother, and her brother's gonna find out, and she doesn't want to let her brother down or her brother to think that she's just a pathical liar. And the phone rings, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I don't really have a boyfriend." And then the person on the other line said, "Oh, you and your brother are fighting? That's odd." And then she realized that, oh, okay, this is my boss calling. And we find out this is her real boss, her real line of work, which is an assassin. And her code name is Thorn Princess. I ain't gonna lie, that's a pretty cool name. I like that. I like that a lot. Reminds me of I don't know if you guys used to watch Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day. It reminds me of Akiza, and she was a nice piece too. So maybe there's something with these Thorn Princesses. All right, so she gets an assassin, and her whole demeanor changes. All right, so her whole demeanor changes when she gets the assignment on who she's supposed to go assassinate. And she walks up there, and I must say, that little outfit she had on, she looking all right by my books. All right, so she walks in. They're like, "Yo, young lady, you're not supposed to be in here." And then she just ching, 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 take these guys out. Pretty easy, pretty quick, no problem for her, apparently. And she damn near drop kicked some dudes through some double doors, so she got some strength in them legs. Strong thighs. And another thing, so she basically walks in there and kills everybody in the room. And from my count, there was at least 7 people in there. And she just took them all out. And being a Shonen Jump story, it's kind of graphic on the murders. And I'm like, is she an assassin, or is she a fucking hitman? Or because it says she's an assassin, but the way she takes these people out, it's like, it's not stealthy at all. And like when I think of assassin, I think like somebody like sniper from a long window and just kills their one singular target, or puts poison in somebody's drink. But it's like a ninja, but modern day ninja, in my opinion. That's what I think about like an assassin. But the way she fucking killed these people, it's like goddamn massacre in the fucking room. I'm like, whoa, got gunshot wounds to the head. Like, it's just a bloodbath in there. I'm like, yeah, okay, you're not an assassin. You're a fucking, how you call those people? I don't know, mercenary. But whatever. Her weapon is it looks pretty cool. It's a little ice. It looks like an ice pick, in my opinion. It's like, that's what she's going for. And so, young lady rips her dress in the scuffle with these men. They're fodder. You don't need to know who they are. They're not important. They're not named. It's not important. It's just to show her skill. Is just their plot device to show how effective she is and what she is. She rips her dress, and apparently it's like the only dress she has, like not the only dress, but the only nice dress she has. And she was planning on wearing this dress to the party that she's going to on Saturday. And she's like, fudge. And then she runs out. She's like, okay, I gotta go to the tailor to get it done. And we move over back to Twilight, and Twilight is given basically a bunch of dossiers on all the eligible women that he could try to propose to become his wife. Because as you remember in our last chapter, we needed a mother so that we can basically have the interview with the parents for the school that Aunt Anya is going to. So we basically need to find a mother, and that's why Frankie was dressed up as a woman to fit the mother. Didn't work because they did my boy dirty there. I ain't gonna go back in that. It brings too much pain. And it's like a giant stack of folders, and it pays back to the beginning of the story. I missed this part, but basically, when we got introduced to basically you're the girls there, the three girls there were talking about how somebody had broken in to City Hall and stolen a lot of information on a bunch of young women and stuff like that, and they're just like, oh, it must be a pervert on the loose. And it's Frankie that broke in to get the things. So we find out, at least that we know from how I was thinking about Frankie, I thought he was more of a techie guy, but not an operative that's in the field. But apparently he probably has some kind of stealthy, like, hands-on approach as well. I just thought he was the tech guy. And as they're going through the potential suitors, because they have specifications, I'm not going to go down the whole specifications of what they wanted. Basically, they wanted a certain age range and somebody who's not going to draw too much attention. That's the whole gist of it, of the person they were looking for. And so as we remember that Yor was going to the tailor shop, and we have to get these characters to meet, and the way that the author made it happen is basically looking at the outfit that, as you can see, Twilight is a very spiffy person. He's always dressed accordingly, but Anya, it doesn't have the best attire for a high class person, because the school they're going to is one of these very high end, high status schools. So they need to go shopping for her, and they take her to a seamstress. I think those are what you call people who do things. So they take her to a seamstress, and as they were getting Anya's measurements, a young woman walks in, and it is Yor. Yor walks in. Yor Blair, I think her name is, BR, one of those. Who knows? She walks in, and she basically sneaks past, because Twilight was at the counter, and she kind of like passed by Twilight without him like noticing immediately. And he's like, whoa, who is this woman? She passed by, and I didn't even realize that she was there, or whatever the case may be. And then so he's kind of like side-eyeing her to see who she is, who is this woman that just kind of like went past him without even noticing. And which is like very impressive. I don't know if this is just anime logic, or is it like supposed to be taken in a I say realistically, very loosely here, but realistically, to where this is just, he's very talented, he has a photographic memory, or he's very smart, he remembers a lot, or he's very good at his job, or is it just convenience sake, just for whatever? Like I told you guys before, there was a giant stack of potential suitors or women that Twilight could get with. And looking at this woman, he realized, oh wow, I do know this woman. She's Yor Blair, 27 years old, never married, never divorced. And he basically gives a rundown of her file. And I'm like, out of all those, how do you just remember everything like that? It just seems a bit weird, or if it's just anime convenient, or is it his ability? Who knows? Because so far in this manga, there's no such. I take that back. I was about to say there's no powers or abilities or special quirks that anybody have, but I forgot Anya has telepathy, but she's an experiment. So I don't know if somebody could innately just have special abilities in this story. We haven't found that out yet, or we haven't seen it yet, other than Anya. Like I said, science experiment. All right. So basically, Yor notices that Twilight is watching her, and she's like, hey, when I walked in, you've been watching me this whole time since I walked in. Is there anything I could help you with? And he basically like, oh, you're just very pretty. I saw you. I think he really means it, because I mean, you're looking pretty good. So like he's talking to her, and she goes like, wow, he's very sweet and stuff like that. And in her mind, she's like, oh, I could ask him to the date. I could find a date for my party coming up. And she's like talking in her own head, and Anya hears it, and she basically says that she can't be with him because she's an assassin, and basically, because Anya walks up to him and she finds out that that's his daughter, and he's like, "Oh no, I can't ask him because that's a married man. I hear stories of married women killing other women over their man infidelities or their mistresses and whatever." So Anya finds out that she's an assassin, and she gives the same reaction that she gave when she found out that Twilight was a spy. So as a young kid, she doesn't care about the ramifications or what comes of it or none of that. That's none of her business. She don't care. That's not her problem. All she knows is a freaking spy and assassin. And she basically out of nowhere, she's like, I sure do miss mommy. And at that point, Twilight explains to, I guess on the spot, explains to Yor that basically his wife died 3 years ago and whatever the case may be. And Yor being very straightforward, kind of like understands whatever. She's like, "Hey, could I ask you, could you please like be my pretend boyfriend, just so that we could get into this party? Because people want me to. I could realize how suspicious it looks with me being this old and whatever." And Twilight's like, "Yeah, sure. I don't see a problem." And Twilight sees the opportunity of like, "How about if I help you, you help me, and we can." Basically, you could be basically pretend to be my wife for this interview that's coming up, and we'll both use each other for that. And she's like, "Well, fantastic, not a problem for me. Moving on, let's get it going." And it's basically, you remember when I said at the beginning that a bunch of operatives got killed, so they're short staffed at the moment. Twilight has been given in another assignment on top of this long con that he has going on. They've given him another side assignment to do. And at this point, is basically he has to go to these racketeers, kill some people, get some treasure. Not important. Nothing major happens there. But one thing I'll notice, remember in my last review when I saw the mailman and I said, "Hey, these spy things, I don't really trust them. Just the everyday person could be somebody, a spy or somebody that's into this world or this lifestyle." And we see that he gets his mission from a freaking store clerk at a hardware store or whatever. Just a everyday. It doesn't look like a freaking main character. Just look like a background character. So it's like I said, you never know. You never know with these spies. And basically, his mission is set to be done on Saturday, which Saturday is the same day that he has his date with Yor. And so he's just basically has to do that. He brings Frankie along, which is weird. Earlier, we found out that Frankie broke into City Hall and basically just stole all those information on the women. And now he's saying he's not a field operative. He's more of a tech guy. So I don't know. Maybe he could just do stealth. He can't do confrontation like fighting, because he specifically said he couldn't fight his way out of a brown bag. So maybe he's just not a physical fighter, but he could be sneaky and do all that, I guess. Okay. So Yor's waiting for Twilight to come, and Twilight is being late. So Twilight's plan was basically to do the mission as quickly as possible, then get back to Yor and get to the party. Mission done, both mission accomplished, and then she would help him with his mission later on. So Yor got tired of waiting, so she goes to the party on her own. And the girls are being chatty as well, like, "Oh, so you didn't bring anyone?" Because I'm guessing from the time the invite of the party to the party, she had told them that she actually had a boyfriend. So this is after she had met Twilight and whatever. And the girls are just like, "I knew she was lying. She couldn't get a man, just being mean." But one of the girls seemed very, like, don't be mean and stuff like that. So I'm not sure which one of them it is, or if it's even genuine or sincere. It might be, when somebody's trying to feel like they're superior, better than everybody else, so they're not mean, they just fake it. But who knows? So this guy comes along. I think his name is Dominic, and he works with Yor's brother Yuri. So I don't know if he's a subordinate or his superior or whatever the case may be, but Yor basically tells him, "Hey, could you please tell Yuri that you did see me come with my with my boyfriend, and one of the other girls are basically just being catty, like, no, he's not going to do that. He's not going to lie. He's going to tell the truth, which the girl is actually the girlfriend of this Dominic fella. And Yuri's Yuri's reaction to this is like, I mean, if I kill everybody here, my brother would have to find out anyway. So, but he's like, yeah, that's too much, too much work and too much trouble, too much cleanup. It's not worth the trouble. But it's not in a evil type of way. It's like very cute. So like, maybe I could kill everybody and everything will be okay. I'm like, well, that's one way to solve your problems. So basically everybody's having a good time, and you could tell Yours not just used to this lifestyle. She just usually fakes it. So she is just like, everybody seems so ordinary, like just, and the author just shows a lot of like chit chat about like nothing, just normal everyday talk, like what's the weather like nonsense. And as Yours getting ready to leave, because she just sat in a corner by herself, she's like, you know what, I'm ready to go. Then that's when Twilight burst into the room and basically says, he makes a whole announcement. I don't know if people do this at parties, or is that how it used to be back in the days? Who freaking announced themselves when they enter a party? Basically, he's like, my name is Lloyd Forger, and I'm yours husband. And he realizes that he's messed up. He's supposed to be the boyfriend, and everybody's like, husband? He's all beat up too, so he didn't even get a chance to clean himself up from the last mission, because there was a little scuffle, a little battle going on in the last little mission he was doing, and he didn't even clean himself up. He's all bloodied, and basically he tells everybody he's a psychiatrist, and some of his patients get a little rowdy sometimes, and they use nails, and that's why he's bleeding. For whatever reason, people believe him, and he's basically like, people are like, what, you're married? And this part happens, and while I was reading, I was like, what the fuck? People, this bitch crazy. So basically, as we know from our main character, Twilight, he's very charming, very suave, handsome man, well put together. And the girlfriend of Dominic basically just kind of just, how could he be with someone like her? And I'm like, what the fuck you mean? How could he be with someone like, the fuck, you crazy? Look at her. Bitch, you stupid. So she get a whole platter of macaroni au gratin to go, and she's like, I'm going to teach her a lesson. Basically, he's going to spill it on her. Come to find out, this shit is piping hot. And I'm like, bitch, you, what? For what? Why? But my girl just as she basically was gonna trip and throws it on her. You know, the little trick, little stupid ass bitch. So she is gonna trip and spill it on her. And my girl, I mean, shit, if you see the little post, she caught it with her leg. Y'all seeing what I'm seeing right now, so nice. All right, so basically,
give your meat a good old rub.
And you could tell that shit was fucking piping hot, because a little bit of it splattered on this Camila's nose, and it burnt her fucking nose. And she's trying to throw the whole fucking tray. She's trying to throw that shit on my girl. I'm like, this bitch crazy. We don't need her. And we don't call females bitches, but that one, yeah. Mm-hmm. So basically, and we find out that for some reason, they think that Yor is a prostitute. Because, and I don't know why maybe she's just naive. I don't know if she's playing it off or is she just that naive. But she basically, when people ask her what she did before she came to the town or where they live, she said she used to just meet guys in their hotel rooms and give them massages, quote unquote massages.
Yeah, boy.
And basically that's, you know what that means. Basically she was supposed to be a prostitute. But yours, like, you're in the back of her mind like, fuck, that was a euphemism for murder, but I guess it came off wrong, so they think she was a prostitute. And basically Lloyd was like, oh wait, that's great, I know. So he's like, I know about her past, and she did what she had to do to provide for herself and her brother, and I think that's admirable to make such a huge sacrifice for the betterment of somebody else instead of being selfish and caring about that. I think that's something very brave to do, which it is. I think if that was the case. So yours very enamored and very like, wow, that's very nice of him to say. So Lloyd basically say, let's get out of here, and they leave the party, and somebody's chasing down their car. Somebody's chasing down their car as they're leaving, and it's from the previous mission that Twilight was on. Twilight Lloyd, same character, was on, and they smash into him, and he realized that, oh my god, that's them. They must have had a tracking device on the back, and like because they got some jewelry from the heist. Like they were taking some jewelry and artifacts back, and he's like, okay, maybe it's from the heist. Like maybe they put a tractor on there, and they found a tracker, and they tracked him down, and whatever the case may be. And basically, if you're getting attacked like that, basically trying to run you down the road, somebody with you that don't expect you to be a spy or anything would ask you, yo, is that your patient still? What's going on? So that's what your ask him. And he's like, nah, some of them are very rowdy. And he's like, okay, that's weird. And so they ditch the car, and he goes and beats up the henchman. And this is a part, I don't know if based on this, I don't know if this is an author note or if this is like genuinely a like Shueisha show the jump kind of amendment. So basically he said this is called concussive therapy. It's a new treatment in the cutting edge of psychiatry. And right underneath it, they said, this is fiction, like with an asterisk, this is fiction, big bold letters. And so I'm wondering, is it like this just a gag of the author? Like, okay, kids, this is not a real thing. It's just, he just made it up to lie to the girl. And so moving on, they run away, they beat up the guys, and basically somebody was going to attack Twilight from above, and Yor comes to his rescue and kicks him like 10 miles away. Very impressive. For whatever reason, neither one of them are suspicious of the other so far, which I'm like, really? How are you not suspicious of the other person? So basically, Yor ask him to marry her, because she's like, you know what, I think it'll be better if we are married after me proving myself to you and doing an interview. How about we just stay married? That way it's easier for both of us. I'll be married, so people won't like be suspicious of me, because it'll be weird. It'll be weird for me to be a 27-year-old woman and not married. Since you already blabbed to her advice and said that I'm your wife, might as well just go with it for the time being. And Twilight had stolen a ring, or had taken a ring from the heist that he just pulled off with the artifacts and whatever the case may be. And he lost the ring amongst the scuffle with everybody. So he pulls out a grenade, takes out the grenade. You know what I'm talking about. A little thing you pull out and then throw the grenade. Yeah, I know what the fuck it is. So he puts that on her finger. And I guess that's a bit symbolic of their relationship. It's like, it's explosive. And he basically does the, I'll pledge to you, I'll love you in sickness and health, that whole vow situation. And then in the back of their mind, they're both saying until. And for him, he says, my mission. And for her, she says, my killing. And I guess, I don't know if she's on an assignment as well. If she's going to basically cast somebody to kill, and she's just using him. Based on what she said, it's more of, it seems like it's going to be, hey, need you as a camouflage so that people are not suspicious of me. Why is, as I'm getting older, people are going to be like, why is she not married? Why is whatever? But, that's neither here nor there. We'll see where it goes on. And at the end of this chapter, I think I want to give like my predictions for like the next chapter, whatever. This chapter had very good pacing. You were introduced to the mother, and they got married on the same chapter, so things are moving along. And last week I remember I was saying that I don't know if the chapter is going to be longer because it's a bi-weekly manga. But yeah, so far the chapters are about 50 plus pages long, which is much longer than a weekly manga. So I'm guessing that's going to be the norm, a whole story. And so for my predictions now, I don't know. I can't really make a real prediction right now. It's just the fact that there's no long running conflict or problem going on right now, because both chapters so far, the conflict started in one chapter and ended in the same chapter, and like, whatever problem they had, to resolve it within the chapter. And at the end, and at least last chapter, we know that upcoming thing is fighting the wife, so we could be going off that. But this chapter ends with basically they got impromptu married. At least symbolically, they haven't legally gotten married, but there's nothing to go off on, so I can't really make any predictions. But I'm assuming next chapter we're probably gonna get the interview with the school, and there's gonna be a lot of confusion, and they're gonna trip over themselves, but they're probably still gonna pass it. And yeah, that's the best I could do. So if I'm gonna rate this chapter, just because Yora's in it and she was looking mighty fine, I'll give it a 9, man. It was really good. There were some parts where the art was a little wonky, but I think it was wonky for comedic purposes, not necessarily bad artwork. But yeah, overall it was a really good chapter, and I'll recommend this chapter. And with that, guys,
I'm out of here.